So this is pretty big. This is about 3 days ago. There was a Fortnite leaker that got exposed pretty hard with a lawsuit from Epic Games. This is a pretty big lawsuit because it's alleging that this leaker not only was a leaker, but they actually worked for Epic Games as a contractor. They signed a non-disclosure agreement. Then they had the inside on a lot of different stuff with Fortnite, upcoming leaks, that sort of thing. And then they put it out there. People who are really into the Fortnite community knew that there was somebody that was leaking a lot of this inside information. But, the big thing with this, I will say, is that there are some leakers that do that as a result of data mining, and this is from stuff that is, to my knowledge, pretty legal because it's data mining for stuff that's already out there. They didn't steal the stuff and then data mine it. It's stuff that's already existing. I'm obviously not a lawyer, but I think the legality of that is pretty solid. Whereas this, where you sign an NDA and then you expose the stuff anyway, that would be pretty illegal. So we got this 3 days ago, went very viral with 5 million views already. It is from Epic Games themselves. They say, "Today we took legal action against a former contractor who repeatedly leaked confidential partner IP and trade secrets that they received while working with Epic. We absolutely do not allow this and will continue to take action when Epic team members share confidential info. It harms our partners and it makes it hard to bring awesome IP to our games. Here is the court filing," and then they provide a link. With all of this too, I will say it kind of sounds like they are trying to save face quite a bit, and understandably so. They're trying to make it known that, hey, we hate this because it not only, is not good for us, but it's also not good for our partners. Yeah, stuff like this is not good for future partnerships you might have with other IPs who maybe want to bring their skins to Fortnite, because hypothetically it could make them less likely to want to partner with Epic Games if stuff is always leaked, and therefore maybe the hype around it when it eventually comes out isn't as strong, so the sales are not as good. So anyway, the court filing, we can see right here the headline of the court filing, and we see it says Epic Games Incorporated versus Hayden Cohen. So that is the name of the alleged leaker, the defendant here. So it's 20 pages long. I do have it in the description if you really want to go through the details, but basically they do give some info on this. They talk about confidentiality of trade secrets, how they try to keep that stuff airtight, like a lot of companies of course do. But it says, despite these safeguards, defendant Hayden Cohen, a former Epic contractor who executed a non-disclosure agreement with Epic, repeatedly misappropriated Epic's trade secret information and broadcasted it publicly through his anonymous social media accounts on X and Discord, operating under the alias AdiraFN and AdiraFN Info. It says, after executing the non-disclosure agreement and in order to complete assigned projects, defendant was allowed to access Epic's confidential trade secret information regarding Epic's upcoming collaborations that had not yet been announced by Epic or its partners, and the defendant betrayed his responsibility to keep the info confidential and breached his express contractual and legal obligations. So they talk a lot about trade secrets here, but of course in this case trade secrets might be a little bit different than, I don't know, maybe when you're working with companies on like Wall Street or something. Trade secrets are, for Epic Games, that's going to be like upcoming collaborations for skins and stuff like that. So for example, it talked about the South Park collaboration. I think that just happened a couple months ago. They are saying that Hayden Cohen is the person that leaked this. So it says, for example, on or about January 6, 2026, defendant posted on X disclosing confidential information about an unannounced collaboration between Fortnite and the TV show South Park, including details about specific cosmetic items that had not been publicly revealed. And then it shows the tweet by him on January 6th, and then, it actually turns out, lo and behold, 2 days later, it was announced by Fortnite that, yes, they were collaborating with South Park. So yeah, Epic is basically trying to call this individual out for allegedly leaking a lot of upcoming collaborations involving Fortnite and other IPs. What they are asking for, it looks like, it's kind of vague right now. It's kind of the usual stuff. Like, we want the defendant to, no longer expose any of our trade secrets, stuff like that. It also talks about awarding or paying Epic for the damages that this leaker has allegedly caused. So we will see what happens actually as a result of this, and I'm very very interested to hear how much money specifically they would actually be asking for.